Hello everyone, welcome to this video tutorial in which we're going to speak about quail monitoring in Europe. My name is Carlos Sanchez. I am the Director of Research of Fundación Artemisan in Spain, and we're going to explain you why it is important and how to participate in these first European Quail Monitoring Days in 2026. What are the European Quail Monitoring Days? This is a pilot project, a new project, in which we invite volunteers, participants from all over Europe to conduct a simultaneous quail survey. So we are asking the people to conduct these surveys in 2 days because we want to get accurate data of this very important game species, which is the common quail. Why it is important to participate? Well, we're speaking about the common quail, which is a species that can be very difficult to monitor because it has a very complex ecology, it has a migratory behavior, and it has a very complex socio-sexual system. This implies that it is a farmland bird, so much of its time it will be in dense vegetation, in cover. It is very difficult to observe directly, to see the birds, and in the majority of the cases it is the calling males which is spontaneously call during the breeding season, the individuals we can detect, but very difficult to see these birds directly. Also, we're speaking about birds which can be in constant movement. So the males are constantly in search of females, in search of optimal habitats, and it's a constant turnover in many places. And also the yearlings, the young birds, can start breeding during the first year of their life. So it is very difficult to monitor indeed. There's a good number of papers of research conducted about this topic. The number of the birds we're going to detect is going to depend on the date we conduct the monitoring, the surveys, the habitat quality, and the female occurrence. It is the female occurrence which is going to be crucial for detecting these birds. In Europe, as many of you will know, there are passive methods that are used for conducting monitoring, including the Observatorio Cinegético in Spain, the Hunter's Watch. But we know that these can be problematic because we can have context of underestimation. Because, yes, we rely on birds spontaneously calling, so this can lead to underestimation. But on the other hand, we have the active methods which increase the quail detection, and we speak about the uncommon common quail because of the extremely high mobility, their migratory and nomadic breeding population. So this justifies the need to use active methods, although they imply more effort. What are the aims of the European Quail Monitoring Days in this year? First of all, we want to conduct simultaneous quail surveys in Europe to evaluate quail occurrence and density during a short period of time. Second, we want to expand the Specific Quail Monitoring Method in all over Europe at large scale. This is very important, flywheel levels in the coming years. We are starting a pilot trial this year in Europe, but of course we want to expand this monitoring method, which is conducted during the whole breeding season, not only during a couple of days. And third, we want to provide valuable data that can be used within the current context of adaptive harvest management and data that could be used in population modeling. These are the three aims of this first pilot trial. On which dates we invite you to take part in this trial? Well, we would like to conduct the simultaneous survey in a single day, but this is not practical because, first of all, there might be weather differences between locations which will not be advisable for conducting a quail survey, like strong wind, rain, fog, or other circumstances. And of course, second, the participants might not be able to conduct the survey in a single date. So there are 2 days for conducting the simultaneous surveys this year, the 2nd and the 6th of June. This is a pilot year, and there's no need to conduct the surveys in the 2 days. You just need to choose one. But this is very important. You have those 2 dates. Please choose one of the dates. Of course, if you do both, that's okay, but there is no need to conduct the surveys in the two days. Where to conduct the quail surveys? Well, we need to choose favorable and representative quail habitats. We're speaking about farmland crops, mainly cereal crops. They can be rain-fed and irrigated. Here in Spain, in southern Europe, most of the land will be rain-fed, but this is the optimal habitat for the quail in this part of Europe, and also in grasslands, including the mountainous areas. But these are the 2 main habitats you will have to choose. Of course, quails are widespread. They can be found in a wide range of habitats, but these are the most favorable for the species. We need to conduct these surveys in the absence of wind, in the absence of rain, fog, and of course avoiding human disturbance when possible, like farm traffic and other activities. So if the day you're planning to do the count, these circumstances are in your monitoring site, you shouldn't do this count or find a different place. And these counts must be done starting at sunrise. Okay, at sunrise you should be in your place, in your monitoring site, starting the monitoring. Here you can see a classic habitat for the quail in Spain. Actually, the 2 main habitats. There's a plot of rain-fed cereal crop, and in green you can see that irrigated plot. So these are the two main type of crops, habitats, together with, as said before, with grasslands in which you can find quails as well. Well, in each monitoring site, this is very important. Once you have selected the site, you need to select 10 listening points. 10 points distributed within a transect. These points must be separated by a minimum of 750 meters in rough land and 1,000 meters in flat open land. Of course, we need to say that there's a maximum of distance between consecutive points of 1,500 meters. With this experimental approach, we avoid the possibility of counting the same birds in different points. Ideally, you have to choose your first point randomly, and then the other 9 remaining points consecutive to this first point. Of course, you need to have permission from the landowner, from the manager, and because this method, as I will explain, requires bird capture and ringing, you will need permission from the relevant authorities. This depends on each country, but it is important to bear in mind. We're going to apply the specific quail monitoring method developed by the University of Barcelona, and the most important thing to consider in this monitoring method is the fact that we need to use passive and active methods. So as I will explain now, we need to go to these points, we need to stop and listen in case there are spontaneous calling from the males, and afterwards we need to use a playback, our recording, and then we need to get this data because we have demonstrated that we know that sometimes when you only use passive methods, there are many birds that will not call spontaneously, so we might underestimate the populations, especially in places like southern Europe with cereal crops, rain-fed. in which this would be quite common. Well, once we get to the first point, listening point, of course, we need to listen outside the car for 5 minutes at each listening point, and we record the number of individuals detected. And here we're gonna show you the two scenarios with detection and no detection. In the case we haven't listened any bird, no calls during 5 minutes, then we play the call once for 20 seconds, and then if we listen for 30 seconds. If there is no call, we repeat the previous process 2 times, and then if there's no call after these 2 attempts, then we can consider that the survey, the result of that point in the survey is 0, and then we go into the next listening point. This is important to follow the same procedure all the time. So this is in the case we don't get any call. It is important to follow this method, and of course always with the female call in the playback that we can provide you. The opposite is that when we get to the listening point, we detect males spontaneously calling. Then we memorize the position of the birds we have detected, and then we attempt the capture. We try to capture them. So we use a net. We use the playback. We try to mark the locations of these quails in a map afterwards, and then we spend a maximum of 15 minutes trying to capture these birds for ringing. But bear in mind that the aim of capturing these birds is to detect the quails around, because sometimes we will have quails that will not respond to the playback. So this is the aim of capturing of the net. That's the aim of this exercise. But very important, we cannot surpass 15 minutes. So that's the maximum time we can spend in each point, in each listening point. So we just to clarify that the final result in each point is the number of individuals captured plus those identified but not captured within a radius of 350 meters, that buffer. Again, the capture is used to improve the count of the estimation of the quails in that point. Of course, we ring the animals, but that's the main aim. Rather than purely for ringing, the aim is to get a very accurate estimation of the birds around. And as you can see, you have to be trained. This needs time and experience to conduct this properly. The materials we need, of course, a net of 10 meters, a playback call. We can provide the recording of the female, the bird bags, materials for ringing, and we can provide the whole protocol of a specific monitoring system, and also to interpret, to understand the wind mood of the quail's capture. We can provide you that information, although we don't get into details in this tutorial. How to record the information? For this year, for this first pilot trial, we have prepared a form that we can provide you through your Hunters Federation. And then you can submit this information to your representative in Europe. But of course, in coming years, we will develop a tool like EpiCollect, for example, that will be used for recording, collecting the data more efficiently. But this year, we are going to use this form, very easy to use, in which you must introduce all the data you have generated in this first trial. If you're interested who should be conducted, well, you need to contact your Hunters Federations in Europe. You can check in the FACE website You might be already in touch with them, but this is going to be organized through the national hunting federations of the European countries interested in the quail conservation. Again, you can go and check in the FACE website. As a summary, we have produced an infographics in which we show the 6 steps of this first European Quail Day. We are happy to solve any question, any query, and last but not least, please take part in this first pilot experience. This will be very important for the future of the quail, for the future of its sustainable hunting, and we know that there are many passionate hunters in Europe, passionate about quail hunting, about its conservation, so please join us in this first experience. Thank you very much.